Conch piercings. Should you pierce with ring or shall you pierce with post? You know, barbells, bracelets. Coming up next on Pros and Cons by a Piercer, episode number 51, I'm going to give you 10 rounds. So stick around. For those that are new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I'm the owner and operator of the Axiom Body Piercing Studio located here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking to you as a piercer who pierces professionally, who has done this piercing numerous times, help you through the process or help people through the process of choosing the correct jewelry for them. I'm an expert. So you may be asking yourself, what is a conch piercing? A conch piercing is a piercing generally done through the bowl or curvature of the ear, usually done kind of in alignment of the ridges of the ear so they kind of match or continue that flow of the body. They can be done pretty much any position of the bowl. Here's a few photos of some examples because everybody says I never put up enough photos. Is that enough photos? Okay, good. What I'm going to do today is we're going to go through 10 rounds, 10 topics. I think we're going to help to make you make that decision on whether or not a post is going to work best or a ring is going to work best. Number 1, look. Number 2, security. Number 3, the profile, or how large or area it takes up and how noticeable it's going to be. Then we have swelling, movement, ease of use. And we're going to finish it out with cost, contact, and how prone it is to issues. So let's start out with the first one, the look. The classic look of the conch piercing is that ring wrapping around the outside of your ear. It's one of those things that has been iconic for this particular piercing since it was first done. Rings are kind of the classy version, and they are not an orbital. I don't know where that name comes from, but that doesn't mean anything if you call in and ask for it. It is a conch piercing and with a ring. It's not a special piercing. With post jewelry, the piercing ends up being more inside the ear. It's more elegant. It's not as noticeable. It's not as in your face. So it's a lot more subtle. So depending on your style, both of those looks can be very good and very beautiful. So in this one, I'm going to tie it. After one round, rings 1, post 1. Which brings us to round number 2, security. With this one, rings usually have a closure that is designed to stay in the body for a long period of time. Things like catty bead rings, seamless rings, beaded rings, etc., or segment rings are designed once they're in there, you don't take them out. That makes them a lot more secure. You don't have to worry about things falling off of them usually. Now with post jewelry, you're kind of caught in two different, pretty much 3 different versions. There is internally threaded, which is where the threading comes off the ball and threads into the post. External, which is where the post screws on, or the ball screws on kind of like a nut onto the post. And then threadless or push pin or whatever they were calling it, depending on what, for whatever legal reasons, where it's the tension of a bent wire inside that post that holds it in place. So those parts can come unscrewed, those parts can fall off. It's always possible. So it makes it a little less secure than a ring. So this one, after 2 rounds, ring 2, post 1. Profile and noticeability. Of course, a ring is larger. And with this particular piercing, it has to be much larger. You got to keep in mind that not only do we have to have it wide enough that we're flattening out that area that's in the piercing to eliminate stress on it, but you also have to have it large enough that it's going to wrap around that area of the ear, which is kind of shaped kind of like this. So it has to go all the way around. It can't be tight to that. It can't be constrictive because that will cause issues, which means the ring has to be oversized, really too bigger than what you need, and is going to get a lot of contact. With posts, it's usually done inside the ear. It usually doesn't have as much contact. It may have to be a little bit longer to allow for inflammation and swelling, but beyond that, it's not going to get knocked around as much. It's not going to be as noticeable as a ring. It doesn't make as bold of a statement. It's more elegant. It's more easy to hide. So this one is definitely going to post. So it's going to bring the score to rings 2, post 2. Going into round number 4, swelling. With rings, they're so large and oversized to begin with, they're going to allow a lot of room for swelling. There's never going to be an issue with a ring unless they put too small of a one in there in the first place, where you're going to have to deal with changing the jewelry due to swelling. With barbells, however, there is only a limited amount of length. And if it does swell beyond that length, the jewelry will need to be changed. And oftentimes, it's a guessing game of how big of a piece we put in to allow for that inflammation and swelling. So it doesn't really give you as much leeway as a ring would that's oversized and too big to begin with. So on this one, I have to give it to rings. There's extra room for swelling. You don't have to change jewelry if there's a problem. So round number 4 goes to rings, bringing the score to 3 for rings, post 2. Which brings us to round number 5, movement. Rings, you have 2 points or kind of 2 axes of movement. You have the effect of moving up and down like a swing, and also rotating or moving through the jewelry or through the piercing. So it's going to move a lot more. Also, the higher profile, it's going to get bumped more often. It's going to cause movement of the jewelry more often. With post jewelry, you can kind of slide back and forth. I guess if you really wanted to, you can twist it, but usually we don't suggest doing that, and most people don't twist it. So you don't get as much movement. Also, it's more protected. It's more inside the ear. It's not going to get bumped and forced to move as much as a ring will. So this one definitely goes to post, bringing the score up to 3-all after 5 rounds. Round number 6, ease of use. With rings, as I mentioned earlier when we were talking about security, they can be kind of complicated to change. They either involve bending or pulling and perfectly putting something back in, or use of tools or all kinds of other stuff. So they can be very complicated to change. Barbells, as I talked about earlier, you basically just are posts. You just have to attach that end, either screw it on or push it in. It's a lot easier, or removing's kind of the same thing. So this one, round number 6, I'm going to give to posts, bringing the score up to 3-4 in favor of posts. Number 7, variety. Well, this one, it's a tie. There is a large variety of different types of rings, colors, shapes, materials, different types of ends, things you can attach to it, and all kinds of fun, wacky stuff. With posts, there's tons of different ends you can put on it of different materials and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to consider this one a tie, bringing the score to, after 6 rounds, rings 4, posts 5. Number 8, cost. Rings have less moving parts or attachable parts or tooled parts. They cost less to manufacture. So rings will always be cheaper, up to $5 to $10 cheaper in most cases. As far as if you want to keep the standard of material exactly the same, to much, much more if you're getting into very elaborate ends. Post jewelry, it requires drilling, it requires tapping, it requires threading, and it requires making 2 very, very detail-oriented pieces. So they're more expensive. So on this one, rings win, tying it up again at 5-all. Number 9, contact. On this one, rings are definitely going to lose this one. If you have a ring sticking out of the side of your ear, it is going to come in contact with bedding, clothing, hair, your neighbor's dog. It'll forget your anniversary. It's going to come in contact with everything, and it's going to agitate the piercing. With barbells or post-style jewelry, it's more inside the ear. It doesn't have anything hanging outside of it, so it's not going to get bumped. It's not going to move around much, and it's not going to have as much contact with other things. This is the reason why contact's important is that abuse can prolong the healing period, cause issues. It can also cause infections if that jewelry comes in contact with something that's contaminated and somehow that works its way into the piercing, which is possible. So after 5 rounds, it's 5-6 in favor of post jewelry. With one more round to go, the very last one. Which one of these types of jewelry is more prone to issues like migration, rejection, bumps, scarring, long healing periods, etc.? And hands down, there is no way around it. A ring is going to take more care, more isolation, more babying, more fiddliness, fiddly-do, than a barbell well, or a post, or a labret. The reason being is that it's out there. It's getting bumped all the time. It's moving a lot. It's heavier to a degree. It's just going to come in contact with stuff. It's going to make the whole process a little bit more longer, a little bit more intense, and it's going to take more work. Post jewelry, because we can position it inside the ear, is not going to have all those issues. Of course, if you bump the area on a regular basis, it's going to hurt. If you catch the barbell on something, it's going to hurt, but you're going to have to work harder at doing those things. So this one definitely, without a doubt, goes to post jewelry. And so after 10 rounds, the final score is rings 5, post 7. And the winner is post jewelry, labrets, barbells, and the like. Well, that's all I have to say on this particular subject. I kind of already knew who was going to win before I even started tallying this. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you found this informative. If you feel like I missed something, or you have something to add, or maybe you have an unrelated question that you just need to ask, feel free to leave a comment. I do answer those. There's always some additional links in the description for other videos I've done on conch piercings and related stuff. So check that out if you want additional information. Also, if you like the video, found it informative, please give us a thumbs up. We like it when you like it. Also, if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every single time we post one of these, which is usually 4 to 5 times a week, believe it or not. If you are a stylish, fashionable fellow or gal, or in between, check out our merch store. We got plenty of t-shirts, hoodies, tapestries, decals, and all kinds of fun stuff. Both designs designed by yours truly and the artists of the Skin Kitchen. So check that out. Show your support, show your love for the channel, and your love of buddy art. Till next time, here's hoping all your tattoos and piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your piercing needs in the future. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you're not buried under snow like we are. If you are, find something to do around the house. Do some self-care, binge watch, eat tacos, whatever you need to do. Because we're counting on you, each and every one of us, for you to be a better person.